Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of the Julian and G.K. podcast. I'm your host, Julian, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, actor, comedian, and the real inspiration behind Big Baller Brand, G.K. What's going on, man?
For real, son, they don't know. Actually, nah, yo, apparently I'm not. Apparently this dude from Argentina is suing LeVar Ball right now for the name.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I'm like, how do you steal something from Argentina?
Yeah, yo, there's nothing new under the sun, I guess, except this podcast.
Exactly. This is the real Big Ball. We should change the name of the podcast to Big Baller Brand Podcast.
And, man, I dare y'all to find another Julian and G.K. podcast. I dare y'all to find another picture of Sabu pointing up and a dude next to him in a leather jacket acting
like who's this dude? Like in my picture.
I dare y'all. I dare y'all. I dare y'all.
Exactly. So we got to get right into it this week, man. We got Backlash coming up this weekend, so we're going to do a nice little match-by-match preview for Backlash. Real quick before we get into Backlash, we're recording this on a Saturday, so we got Takeover Chicago tonight. I'm just going to run down the whole card real quick, and you just give like general thoughts if you're interested, not interested, whatever. So for Takeover Chicago, we got Roderick Strong against Eric Young. We got Tyler Bate against Pete Dunne for the UK title. We got Asuka against Ruby Riott against Nikki Cross for the women's title. Ember Moon's injured, so she's out of that one. We got DIY against the Authors of Pain in the ladder match for the tag titles. And we got Bobby Roode, the glorious Bobby Roode, against Hideo Itami for the NXT title. So what do you think of this card? Are you interested? Just going to catch up on it later? Like, what do you think of this card for Chicago?
Well, for the most part, I'm going to catch up on it later because who are my eyes going to be widest on? It's actually going to be on Authors of Pain because I really need to see. I mean, DIY is DIY.
Yeah.
What they do. Ladder matches are ladder matches.
Yeah.
They do. But it's Authors of Pain. I feel like they have the potential. They have the higher ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I think what makes DIY so great and what makes NXT and what makes a lot of these guys so great is that these dudes have cut their teeth in the indies for 2, maybe 3 decades already. So you're just seeing, you're basically catching them at the tail end of their extended primes. You think AJ Styles is good now?
Yeah.
You think Samoa Joe is good now?
Yep.
Well, Shinsuke Nakamura is 37.
Exactly.
Imagine how good they were 5 to 10 years ago. You just didn't see them.
Yep. It reminds me of the old thing that Mick Foley said when he said in an interview. He said, you got me after I was good. Like, talking about the WWE, like, why didn't you get me when I was younger? Because as great as AJ and Samoa and Shinsuke are now, the way they were like 5-10 years ago was on another level. So it's like they're still the top of the crop in the WWE, but like at the time when they were really in their primes, like it was on another level.
Right, and then what does that say about everybody else who are actually still in their 20s and 30s and still can't light a candle to them?
Exactly.
But wrestling is a different beast. I liken this to somebody like, if y'all don't know this dude, that's sad. Arvidas Sabonis.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, Arvidas Sabonis is arguably, and yes, there is a legit argument for this, probably the greatest center to ever play the sport of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And his young son just finished his rookie year with Oklahoma City Thunder. But this dude was apparently Bill Walton and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in one. 7'4", Lithuanian, and was just a beast outside of the NBA. And then by the time he came to the NBA, he'd already had multiple surgeries. He was in his mid-30s. Mm-hmm. And he could barely move.
Yep. And you knew Arvidas Sabonis was a bad dude in his prime because, like you said, he came in when he was in his early to mid-30s, like had tons of injuries, and he was still killing dudes like in the NBA, like when he was broken down. So imagine if he was in the NBA in his prime.
Right. Except he had to deal with Shaq every week when Shaq was on the Lakers.
Yes.
But as an older athlete myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just made it sound like I'm on their level, but not really. But like I said, what people are seeing now with AJ, with Shinsuke, with Bobby Roode who just turned 40, people are seeing with these guys. You're not seeing them at their prime. You're seeing the accumulation of immense talent and immense you're not seeing them at their perfect blend of talent and skill.
Yeah.
So it's still great that you get to see them at all, and that wrestling is a sport where you can still be in your 40s and 50s and still perform at that kind of level. I mean, if we knew the tricks of the trade, maybe we'd have a better idea of how they pull it off. But I know that first and foremost, you have to be a world-class athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be really good at what you do, and you have to be beyond 10,000 hours into the craft.
Yeah.
To learn it. So they're still the best. So I guess you're lucky if you're a great professional wrestler. I guess you have a longer prime and a longer run on top once you get there.
Yeah.
Than if you are the typical athlete in a more typical sport.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's more like a golf thing.
Yeah.
Daytona thing, except way more athletic and brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what but I don't feel that way about Office of Pain. I feel like these dudes are young
Mm-hmm.
and on the come up, and these dudes are just blue chip. These dudes are just blue chip stars, man. I feel like they just need more time in the oven, and I think this is one of those key checkpoints for them. So my eyes are on them.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes are on your boy Hideo Itami, because now that all this is coming out on Shinsuke,
Yeah.
and me and you, our biggest fear coming into this was WWE don't mess this up.
Yeah.
Because how can WWE be even trusted with marketing a guy as charismatic and as unique as Shinsuke Nakamura?
Mm-hmm.
But Hideo Itami was here first.
Oh, yeah.
Big Japanese star import first.
Yeah.
Because he's just been snake bit with so many injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never seen him do a full match yet.
Yeah. It was, there's only been a couple since he's been in NXT. Like, he had one against Roderick Strong the other day. He had a couple, like, I think against, like, Tyler Breeze and some other people when he first came in. But, yeah, I think he's only had, like, a total of maybe, like, 5 or 6 matches since he's been in WWE and NXT total. And that's crazy because he's been there. Like, when you think about it, he came the same exact time as Finn Balor and Kevin Owens. They all signed at the same time. And when you compare Hideo to Finn and Owens, he's way behind.
Right. But now he's in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Pay-per-view. So I'm like, okay, now it's show me what you got.
Yeah, exactly. This is his proving ground. If he can have a great match with Bobby Roode tonight, I don't think he's going to win the title, but I think he'll, be able to put on a good performance that, like, makes the WWE brass go, okay, this guy's really good. And I don't know if maybe because he's had, like, all those issues in the past, and they kind of want to strike while it's hot and make sure they use him if they, like, will promote him up to the main roster sooner than later, or if they're going to let him stay in NXT for a while. But, like, they need to do something with him, and hopefully he can avoid the injury bug again, because, like you said, he was the big Japanese signing at the time, way before Shinsuke. It was a huge deal, like people forget when they signed him, because he's been a huge star all over the world, like on the independent scene and in Japan, and it was a huge get for the WWE, but it's like he's just hasn't been able to perform, not due to his own fault, just like I'm being unlucky and injury hitting him. So hopefully he can stay healthy and, like, finally get that recognition and be up there with the Finns and the Kevin Owenses that, like, came at the same time as him.
Right. And the UK championship I really want to see, because the WWE they clearly have a new focus and a new plan in mind, and of course a lot of that is based on their international markets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hence this UK tournament. Hence now they're going to try to main event Shinsuke jump. Hence Jinder Mahal.
Yep.
Which anybody tries to discredit Jinder's push because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Just kiss my grits. Sorry, let me say it back when we used to say it back in the day in elementary school, where you tried to say bad words in class. Where you try to say it in a way, but you say it clean so the teachers can't really get you in trouble, but the message was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anybody who tries to discredit Jinder's push because he's from Canada,
Mm-hmm.
that you cheered Razor Ramon knowing damn well Scott Hall ain't Cuban.
Exactly.
Yet you cheered Yokozuna knowing damn well he was Samoan.
Yep.
Yet you cheered Akeem the African Dream even though he was white as snow and nothing African about him.
Exactly. That I still don't get that one.
All of y'all, from the 90s me to y'all, haven't done this in a while, kiss my grits. There it is.
But yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's just like, people are getting on that thing about gender. It's like wrestling is built off of lying where the wrestlers are from. Like, it's like whatever is convenient for the storyline. And in gender storyline, I'll give them credit. I think what they're doing with gender is kind of comparable to what they were trying to do with Muhammad Hassan, but then until that whole thing went whatever, where it's like I'm a good man and I'm a good person, and you people dislike me just because of how I look, and that's not fair. And I think that's kind of where they're going with Jinder's character, but hopefully they don't do what they did to Hassan and have him have a posse of terrorists support him, and so they can stay, because I think that Jinder could be a really good character if they continue using him the way they have been.
Well, here's the thing. Well, two things. One, this is why I like.
Oh, hold on.
Okay. Well, yeah. So these are my two things about this Jinder Mahal push. One, it's more proof that why I like SmackDown more than Raw. You can never get away with pushing a years-long jobber who then got released and then brought back to job again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, daylight savings time switched, and he's the number one contender. You would never get away with that on Raw.
No, never.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I like about SmackDown. And that's always been the history of SmackDown, even dating back to when JBL first got his first push. Like, there was no way that JBL would have gotten over on Raw or even been thought of in that way on Raw. But on SmackDown, they said, all right, we got Bradshaw. Ron Simmons is about to retire, so what can we do with him? Oh, we know we can make his real life persona where he's really like a self-made rich dude, and just like bring it up to another level and just make him arrogant about it, and that'll be a good heel character. And then it became one of the best heel characters in the in the aughts. So I think that that's kind of what they're doing with Jinder. And they say it, oh, SmackDown's the land of opportunity. No, it really is. In real life, SmackDown is the land of opportunity. If you go to SmackDown, there's a good chance that you could become a main eventer if creative sees something in you.
Right. That's another reason why I have such high hopes for Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Enzo and Cass should have gone to SmackDown, but that's here nor there. Now, but my second thing with Jinder, besides SmackDown being the land of opportunity, which is I love the hypocrisy of most wrestling fans and viewers.
Mm-hmm.
When most of these non-American quote unquote heels come in,
yeah,
their whole basis of their characters or their feuds are, y'all don't like me because I look different, I walk different, I talk different, I'm from a different country.
Yeah.
And then everybody audience's only comeback is boo and USA. Am I the only one who notices that 9.6 times out of 10, whenever a heel comes up with that premise for a feud, they're right?
Yes, they are. And that's the thing. In this case with Jinder, and I said Muhammad Hassan before, they were 100% right. Like, the crowd is just proving them right. It's like as soon as they come out, boo! And it's like they didn't even open their mouth yet. It's like you're booing him not on his actions, just based on how he looks and what you think he is. And Jinder's whole thing is like, I'm educated, I'm a good citizen, and I'm being treated this way just because of how I look. And the crowd is proving him right. And it's like and that makes for an interesting dichotomy where it's just like the heel is really right, and other wrestlers in the past have said, the best heel is the heel that has a motivation for being bad, and the crowd can't really dispute it. He has a good motive for being the way he is.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really feel like and Raw, I feel like right now both Raw and SmackDown are being propped up by the mid-card.
Yeah.
Mid-card is carrying it because the main event scene is so weak. Raw is just ravaged with injuries. So I think in our last podcast we were talking about why did they take Roman out for a few weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they taking Strowman out for a few weeks? But like now, in hindsight, okay, Roman had personal issues.
Yeah.
With
mm-hmm.
passing of his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And Braun Strowman had elbow issues that he thought he was going to be out for a few weeks, and now it's going to be a few months.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just bad. I mean, I initially thought, man, that's terrible timing. But now that I think about it, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good to be injured and have surgery. That sucks. I mean, I've had 4 of them. I know.
Yeah.
But it's good because your act can't get stale.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mark of good storytelling, good entertaining. You leave before you peak.
Yep.
You leave people wanting more.
Exactly.
So I think Strowman being out of act, he's gonna come back even better.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to make the fans miss him. And it's like he was already starting to get really over. And now it's like, when you go away, like right when you're getting over, it just makes the fans want you more. It's kind of like, with Stone Cold when he was hot and then he had that injury with Owen Hart and he couldn't wrestle anymore. But it made him even more over because the fans wanted to see him wrestle. And so that by the time he finally returned and wrestled again, he was like hotter than he'd ever been. And I think the same thing's going to happen to Strowman. Like people are going to miss him, and then when he comes back, they're going to be like, "Oh yes, thank God! Like we've missed this guy."
Right.
Yeah.
I think with Backlash, I think it's going to be a really big pay-per-view play into getting some increased revenue and exposure in the international market. So
yeah.
that's kind of what I'm looking for and looking at, because I think that's clearly what this WWE revamped new business model is kind of like. I think they've been in this game for damn near a century, so they already know the domestic game.
Yeah.
So they're trying to expand. They're trying to expand more in Asia, Europe, which is smart because there's hell a lot of wrestling fans out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think that like WWE saw the strategy that a lot of these movie companies are doing, like, because it used to be that like with movies, they would like only really market to the U.S. They really didn't care about the rest of the world because they felt the U.S. is where the big dollars are at now. But now they're starting to see a lot of these movies that flop in the U.S. are doing great numbers overseas. Like you had like Warcraft, you had like that Matt Damon movie, The Great Wall, like movies that do not perform well in the U.S. but still make back the majority of their money and make a profit just based off of overseas, like China, India, stuff like that. So I think WWE is seeing that, and they're like, we're doing well domestically. Obviously, we're the number one wrestling company in America. Now let's conquer the rest of the world and not double, triple our profits by hitting the Indian market, hitting the Asian market. And I think that's the strategy that they've been going with, and I think it's going to be very lucrative for them because those are huge markets. Like people forget that America isn't the only country. This world is very big and has wrestling fans all over it.
Right, and these WWE studio straight to DVD movies. Mm-hmm. Reason why they make them. Why do you think they're still making Marines?
Yeah, it's not for the American crowd. It's for the overseas crowd because they eat that up.
Right, so you're probably thinking like, man, Miz is A-list. Maybe he is.
Yeah, not in America, but if he goes overseas, I guarantee you that there's some diehard Marine fans like in some random country around the world, because you never know what hits in another country like that might not hit in America.
Right, I'm talking like the same kind of countries where whenever there's a championship final and you have to pre-make championship T-shirts for both teams.
Yeah.
And of course, one team loses, so they're like, "Damn, what do we do with all these 1994 NBA champion New York Knicks shirts?"
Oh God, that just hit me in the heart. Oh God, so close. We were so close. But anyway, but yeah,
that whole upper left atrium. But it's the truth.
Yeah. It's the truth. Like there's a whole so many countries in the world. There's countries I still haven't even heard of. There was like some soccer game on the other day, and it had some country I never even heard of before. And I'm 33 years old, and that's how many countries there are in this world. So there's markets that are still untapped that can be can be marketed to. And I think that's what the WWE's new strategy is. It's like we already pretty much dominated America. I mean, there's no real number two company in America anymore. It's like it's only the WWE. So why not become the number one wrestling company for every country in the world? And why not?
Right, but also, this is also what I've really figured out about the model. So you know how we've talked before. Mm-hmm. And I told you that even it came out of Triple H's own mouth that they're not making superstars anymore. John Cena was the last one.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, and come on, look at The Rock, man. The Rock's got Baywatch next week, and he's the host of the season finale of SNL.
Yes.
Come on, man. Like, I can make the argument that The Rock is bigger than WWE by himself.
Oh, he is. That's why The Rock can come. He came and he called CM Punk on the phone in the middle of the ring, and they're still going to ask him to come back because he's The Rock. He's bigger than WWE at this point. He's the biggest movie star in the world, legitimately.
Right, and he's already done pretty much all he can do to help WWE. So WWE is on their own.
Yeah.
So this is what I figured out. The WWE is focused on making one more big star, one more big name that they want the world over to know.
Yeah.
And the name of that star is WWE.
Yeah.
So to me, what they're doing is they're not a wrestling company anymore.
Yeah, no. They're like an entertainment conglomerate.
Right. So pretty much right. So it's more it's more focused on being, a content-driven, publicly traded company, that doesn't do as well with advertisers as it used to. So it has to generate its own revenue.
Yeah.
Why they have so many hours of programming, hence why they have to keep bringing in old stars, despite making new stars work. Hence the PG rating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they also have to change their model for celebrities. Not creating their own superstars anymore. You know what I mean? Because they can't risk creating stars and then they leave and then they're more successful without them.
Yeah.
So basically what they're doing is, so they've adapted to what I'm not going to call it the OJ effect, but what happened with OJ during that trial, when they televised that entire trial, and when OJ was acquitted, and then he went out into the real world thinking that he was just going to get the same life and same acclaim that he got before the trial. What happened to him and what happened to everybody involved in that trial was something that never happened before. That they weren't mainstream A-list famous.
Yeah.
They were this new reality TV famous. A different, more diluted, more fleeting kind of fame.
Yeah.
So they mistook it for that. They were TV stars. They thought that they were still big movie stars, and they weren't.
Nope.
So that's the fame that OJ got, and that he was loving and thought was the real thing after the acquittal, and it wasn't.
Nope.
I think what WWE's done, they've adapted with Total Divas, with the Miz still doing the Challenge after show, which I have to talk about later.
Yeah.
The Miz being a regular on ESPN, with Dolph Ziggler was just on Fox News.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With stuff like that, that's the highest they're going to allow their stars to be. They're going to be internet reality TV celebs instead of mainstream celebs.
Yeah. I agree with you at that point. I think that they want to keep them in that kind of bubble so that no one can be bigger than the company. If they wind up leaving the company and then becoming bigger that way, then fine. But I think WWE wants to keep it very contained while someone is still under their employment to make sure that if they're doing anything, it is in the name of WWE. It's not going to be like The Rock, who went and did Scorpion King and did like all these other movies, and then WWE would just promote his movies. Like, no, they're going to be like, if you're going to do a movie, it's going to be for WWE Studios. If you're going to do an album, it's going to be through WWE Music, group. If you're going to do anything, it's going to be through the WWE. You're not going to be doing stuff independently outside of the WWE because they want their name attached to everything that their superstars do now.
Right, because they want WWE to be the star.
Exactly.
They want WWE to be the name in the life. That's why Southpaw Regional Wrestling, I think Southpaw has like a tinge of, I'm not gonna say like a middle finger to the new model. I think those guys, I think they all live in Florida. That's why those hodgepodge of guys even got together.
Yeah.
Shot that in their free time. Yeah. I feel like that was the way of saying, if you just let us be free and let us be us, come up with better stuff you can come up with, but you're not gonna let us do that.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can just shill us a few dollars and we'll just do this for fun.
Yeah.
And do it still under the WWE umbrella. But this explains everything. This explains why they still bank on nostalgia. Every WrestleMania season, every other season. I mean, think about it. I mean, instead of creating new stars, Flair, Undertaker, Sting, Goldberg, teasing Shawn Michaels, they're all in their 50s.
Yes.
I mean, Brock is in his 40s.
Yep.
and that's why they're getting the biggest stars in wrestling. The biggest pre-made. Now that's why pre-made stars are at a premium.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of they pretty much stole the media entertainment strategy now. Like all these people that are looking for new talent and new shows, what's their best strategy? Go online and find people who are already viral.
Yeah.
Instead of people who are actually good at their trade and good at their craft and have actually studied and have actually done it the hard traditional way.
Yeah, exactly. And they're even like, further touching upon how you say they reach for old stars now for WrestleMania season. Even in mainstream media, that's what's happening. If you look at this last week, they had the upfronts for a lot of these networks announcing shows that they're going to have for the fall season, the networks. And you see they're bringing back a lot of shows that were popular in the past that they're hoping will generate, and this has been a trend. Like Netflix kind of started the trend when they were bringing back Full House and some of these other shows, from the past. And now you see Roseanne's coming back next year. You see Will and Grace is coming back next year. So you see all these shows that were popular like 10, 20, 30 years ago. They're bringing back Dynasty, for God's sakes, which wasn't around even before I was born. Like Dynasty, like that's how old it goes back. They bring back all these shows that they think people will go. They have Riverdale, which is based on the Archie comics. They have all these shows that are based off of these properties and shows from like years past, hoping that it reignites interest in the network based on people who used to watch those shows. So WWE is just following that same model. Like, okay, we're going to present you the new guys, but to try and get eyes on the product, we're going to bring back Goldberg. We're going to bring back these people that maybe someone from the 90s who hasn't watched wrestling since 1999 is going to go, oh, Goldberg's involved? I'll watch that. And then that way they'll be introduced to these new characters and then maybe want to stick around.
Right. I mean, no, they're bringing back That's So Raven.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's what I'm saying. They're bringing back everything. Like everything from like the 90s that was like even mildly popular, they're trying to reboot. So people get on WWE about it. And yeah, maybe it's not the best long-term strategy, but you can't really blame WWE because everyone's doing it.
Right. I mean, and here's the thing. I don't knock it. I get it. I mean, look, I had a conversation with my Lyft driver. You know what I mean? And yeah. I mean, tell you, Lyft drivers will talk about anything to get that 5-star rating, boy.
Yeah, shout out to Lyft. I love Lyft. Much better than Uber in my estimation. But yeah, shout out.
Right. So to me, this all also ties back into the importance of the network. Mm-hmm. So because what WWE will always have an advantage with, as opposed to other forms of entertainment and sports, is nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like I remember when it was Rock vs. Hogan in WrestleMania 18. Mm-hmm. And just how great that was. And I remember Jerry Lawler on the call. Like, you'll never see Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson. You'll never see Babe Ruth versus Barry Bonds. Mm-hmm. Not to see Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Yep. And he is absolutely right. Yep. And what my Lyft driver was talking about, it's all nostalgia. Like, okay, I don't watch now, but I know The Undertaker. Yeah, you remember Ric Flair? And I'm like, yeah. It's one of those things where when you're a real wrestling fan and when people are kind of clearing out the cobwebs in their memory banks and heads, like, oh my God, do you remember Hulk Hogan? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Vaguely.
Yeah, only the biggest, probably the biggest wrestling star ever. Yeah, I think I remember him.
Like oh my God, you're probably not gonna remember this, but oh my God, do you remember this thing called WrestleMania? Oh my God, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up, man. I can't remember the last time I thought about that. but you just got to take it. But see, but unlike the other forms, I mean, in wrestling, you can actually watch your childhood hero or your teenage icon as an adult and beyond. Your parents can introduce you to a wrestler. Y'all can watch him together, and you can both enjoy that same star as grown men.
Yeah, yeah.
No one else, no other form can do that. Like seeing The Undertaker or Shawn Michaels or Edge or Bryan or Flair retire, that's why it's so sad. Yeah. They're staples for multiple decades and generations of people. Yeah. It's not just the end of an era when you lose these guys. It marks the end of multiple eras whenever one of these guys shuts it down. And seeing them face off against current and future stars, that's the bridge. Mm-hmm. And it's a bridge that's sturdier and extends longer than other sports can do.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think I don't really have an issue with them using people like, these legends for WrestleMania season, because I think that's what WrestleMania is about. It's a big spectacle. You don't want to do it for every pay-per-view. You don't want all your pay-per-views to be, like trotting out old guys and stuff like that. But for WrestleMania, why the hell not? Like you said, it creates those one-in-a-lifetime matchups that no other sport can do. You can't do that in boxing or basketball. You can't see Jordan against LeBron. You can't see Tyson against Ali. It's just not physically, once they reach that certain age, they can't compete at that level anymore. But with wrestling, they have the ability to pre-plan everything and use the smoke and mirrors to make a guy who's in his mid 50s look like $1,000,000. They have that ability to do that. So you can have a match like Rock Hogan, where Hogan is like broken down beyond belief at the time, but it still turned out into a great match because it was booked perfectly. And that's what I think people miss about when they bring back the old timers. It's like you said, it bridges that where people who haven't watched wrestling forever, but maybe their son or whatever is still into it, and that person will go, oh hey dad, like Goldberg's wrestling again. And he'll go, oh really, Goldberg? I remember we used to watch him and he was great. Yeah, I'll watch that with you, because it piques people's interest, like on people that they used to watch in their past, and for nostalgia's sake. It's the same reason why people who loved Roseanne are probably going to watch Roseanne again when it comes back next year. They probably haven't thought about Roseanne in years, but when they see the commercials, they're going to go, oh wow, Roseanne is back. I love Roseanne. Yeah, I'll check it out. And that's what that's like. So you can't fault WWE for doing that. It's smart marketing. And yeah, it would be great if it was like the Attitude Era, where they just pushed nothing but new stars and they said, forget about those old stars. We're making a new era. And that's great. But like you said, WWE is trying to go global. And to go global, you have to have a different marketing strategy. Like with the Attitude Era, they were just trying to stay alive. That's really what it is. And that's what people miss out, forget about the Attitude Era. They go, oh, the Attitude Era was so great. They had no choice but to do that. All the old stars went to WCW because WCW was giving them guaranteed paychecks. WWE had no choice. You think that if Hulk Hogan and Nash and all of them would have stayed around during the Attitude Era, that Vince McMahon would have said, oh no thank you, stay over in WCW? He would have taken them in a second, but they didn't want to come because they were getting boatloads of money from WCW. So I think people kind of forget about that when they talk about the Attitude Era. They had to create new stars out of necessity, not out of choice. They had no choice. They didn't have access to those old timers anymore.
Right, but I think also people just forget about the state of affairs and the world in the late 90s and early 2000s in general. It was the most prosperous time in the country for the economy.
Yeah.
Everybody was winning back then. That was the dot-com industry. Not to mention that's when cable ratings mattered, because there was only 40 channels.
Exactly. Like, it's crazy when I see people go, oh, they don't have the ratings like they used to have. I said, yeah, because there's literally no exaggerating. There's over 500 cable channels now. Back in the early 90s, or the late 90s, like you said, there's only 40 or 50 cable channels. There was no competition. There's 500 cable channels now. Like, the fact that Raw is still amongst the top 10 shows is amazing. Like, that's an amazing feat that people really don't fully grasp, because they don't understand how many channels there are now compared to what it was back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Right, and what people are not getting, I understand people's gripes and people's frustration when they bring in new guys and they keep cutting them off. They keep pulling the rug from underneath them before they can get too big, and just pretty much cutting off a lot of their logical progression. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get it, but what they're not realizing is, the picture is bigger than them and their purview. Mm-hmm. To keep creating and recreating these new dream matches, it also enhances the current talent, because it bookends legends and it pits multiple eras and histories against each other. So when the Hardy Boys are dominating the tag division, they're bringing the Attitude Era with them.
Yeah.
So they're not old bodies collecting a check.
Yeah.
They're representing the glory days. They're pitting eras and even fan bases
against exactly, and it's smart. It's very smart. Like I think them putting the Hardys against Cesaro and Sheamus is brilliant, and I like the fact that Sheamus, like, they even went further with the storyline where Sheamus on his Twitter is saying this era is way better than the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era couldn't like hold a candle to us, and then that generates interest where people from like who are fans of the Attitude Era are for the Hardys, and people from this era are saying no, the Hardys are old, they need to go away. Sheamus and Cesaro are the future, and now that makes both eras, like both people, want to see this match. Like, it's smart marketing. It just is, and people like kind of miss that sometimes.
Right, and that's what people need to understand. Like 10 years ago, yeah, the dude from Stephen Amell, the dude from Arrow doing SummerSlam would be a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal. But now in this current market, it's not.
No.
So the WWE profits more long term by people who already have a name in wrestling coming in than they used to getting success trying to grab as many names who have a brand outside of wrestling into their world.
Yeah, exactly.
So remember the whole Raw celebrity guest host every week thing?
Yeah.
I think that's when they started to learn, like, okay, the celebrity thing doesn't really pay off.
Exactly, because I think during
in the long term as much as we thought, as much as it used to. And we don't get it because it always has.
Exactly. And I think they had to change their philosophy because in the 80s and 90s, you bring in a big celebrity, it was guaranteed ratings. But then when they were doing bring in a celebrity host every week or every couple of weeks, and the ratings were still pretty much the same every week, they realized, like, people don't really care about that anymore. There's too many options now. It's not like back in the day where people, like, they had a favorite celebrity and they watched anything that celebrity was a part of. Now people, and especially in the age of DVR and, Facebook and Twitter and everything is up online in 2 seconds. If they have a celebrity they like, they're not going to sit through 3 hours of Raw to see that celebrity. They're just going to tune into whatever entertainment show, like Entertainment Tonight, and see a clip of it. They're not going to stay there for 3 hours to watch a show. And I think that's when WWE realized, all right, forget these celebrities. Let's bring in, let's appeal to the wrestling fans and bring in, old school, wrestlers that they might not watch wrestling anymore, but they remember that wrestler and they want to see that wrestler wrestle again. Ugh.
And also, wrestling fans are consistent. Now, here's the thing. I have no problem with what Sheamus said either, because for a good percentage of where he's coming from, I agree with him. I mean, you and I, we argue about this all the time. When we start to rank, all-time great matches and, our podcast for about which matches to show other people, remember I told you I don't like dusty finishes and screwy finishes?
Yeah.
That's 7 out of 10 of your favorite matches, that's how they all finish. and it's no disrespect to the people, to the wrestlers of the early 90s and before that.
Yeah.
Compared to the product now, the product now, I'm not saying that these guys are bigger stars. I am not saying that at all. But these guys, this roster is the best in-ring roster from top to bottom.
Yeah,
that they've had.
Yeah, ever. And I think
ever had. It's the most eclectic.
Yep.
They're the most well versed. And a lot of that also, and some of that is also by accident. I mean, it's not just the changing times and the changing model, but it's also the wellness policy.
Oh yeah, exactly. That played a huge factor in them having to go towards smaller wrestlers because they can't bulk up anymore.
Right, and also I just read a transcript of so Shinsuke was just on Jericho's podcast, right? And they were talking about when this all started to click for him. Now, people might not know this. Shinsuke has a really, really extensive MMA background.
Yeah.
This dude was selling out stadiums doing MMA fights. He went up against Daniel Gracie. Gracie's one of the most famous last names in combat sports.
Yep.
This is back when he just looked like a regular fighter. He was wearing knee pads.
Yep.
Wearing shorts, and he had no charisma at all.
No, he's just a regular dude.
He's a regular dude who did pretty well.
Yeah, he had a good MMA record.
Right, so this dude is legit. His MMA thing is legit. Not like CM Punk before he came into wrestling. This dude's MMA background is legit. Yeah. Right? So he was saying. So they're talking about how this all clicked for him in 2011 when he went to Mexico. That's a whole different story. But he said he likens himself as a combination of David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson part, especially, I mean, you see A in his attire, number one.
Yeah.
But also, he said he's the best dancer in the world because he has no muscles in the way. So he's just free to be fluid.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So that's why he's so damn flexible. That's why he's so damn wiry strong. That's why he's just like so very, very, very smooth moving yet very strong. Like, yeah, that was Michael Jackson to a T.
Yep.
And he's like, and that's the style he copied. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that. So I think WWE has capitalized on more what's there. There and just making the best out of what they got, maximizing what they got, and I cannot knock them for it. It leads to, and also you can't predict. Given our political climate and everything, and given what Netflix and Amazon Prime, you can't really predict or foresee what's going to happen next with just the domestic audience. So it's really a long reach if you're trying to pull in new people that have no ties or had no previous interest in wrestling or weren't knowledgeable of it before. I mean, for example, look at sports.
Yep.
ESPN just laid off over 100 of their on-air talent.
Crazy.
Right? Why do they do that? Because A, everything is veered towards opinion shows. So I don't know if you saw that Twitter beef that Jonathan Coachman was just in, where he was just like, "Look, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm a talking head."
Yeah.
I mean, but also people want their opinions, but then that becomes very niche.
Yeah.
So you have to dominate your niche because there's also the people that don't want opinions. So what happened to ESPN was the Sports Center is not what it used to be because of what you said. You can just get highlights on your phone or on the internet at any time.
Yep.
So waiting until 11 p.m. or midnight for all your highlights.
Yeah, it's just not going to cut it anymore.
It's also useless now. And B, the main audience of people that still live like that and want to live like that are people who don't want, lack of a better way to put it, don't want opinions with their sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no one. I mean, even when social issues cross into sports, like no one's trying to watch NFL and talk and see and talk about Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Huge chunk of the regular sports fan audience that hates that.
Yeah.
People like, okay, who cares if they're having a press conference at a rally for Black Lives Matter? I'm trying to watch Speed Week.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch Bass Pro Fishing right now.
Exactly.
TV Guide said, bastards.
Yep.
Right. So ESPN had to adjust. Cable's not what it once was, and they don't want to alienate their core audience.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it puts them in an awkward position because, like you touched upon, you know, anyone can get highlights, from a variety of sources nowadays. So they couldn't stay like that because otherwise they die, because it's like people aren't watching ESPN anymore for highlights. But then, like you said, like they have to go to the opinion shows because there are a percentage of the audience that love opinion shows. They love to see two people argue about sports because they like to formulate their own opinions. Go, oh yeah, I agree with that guy. Or, oh, that guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But there's other people who just, like you said, who just don't want that at all. Don't want to hear anyone's opinions about sports. They just want to see the sports and formulate their own opinion and just keep it like that. And I think
right, and find people in programming that support your opinion.
Exactly. And I think that you have to know how to market your product nowadays. And it's like you're going to turn off a sector of your fan base by doing that, but you have to do that for the greater good of your company. And I think that's what WWE has to do, is that, a lot of times, people are like, oh, we want it to be like the Attitude Era. We want the blood and the sex and the violence and all that. But it's like, but that's only going to cater to a small percentage of the audience. It's like they think, like people say, like, oh, if they did that, WWE would be back on top and be like the number one, they're already the number one, but they'd be like, even more popular than they already are. No, they wouldn't, because it would attract that fan base, but then they would lose all the, the families that watch WWE together. And I think that's what people don't realize, that is actually a much bigger market than the fan base that wants the blood and the guts and the everything of the Attitude Era. Those fans are very small compared to the families that watch WWE together.
why ECW overachieved.
Yeah.
Never going to be, but they were never going to be WWE or WCW. I mean, that's why Jerry Springer overachieved, but he was never going to be Oprah.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. And also, like you said, that hit on in the late 90s when that was the thing, when being controversial and risky was like the big thing at the time, when like Howard Stern was big and like, you know, everything. Like the 90s, that's when everything was excessive. Like it's like more sex, more blood, more violence, because that's what sold. But now we're in an era now where people are like more like, okay, like they've seen everything. We've seen everything, especially in the age of the internet. Like there's nothing that people can see now that can really shock them anymore the way that it would in the 90s. In the 90s, it was like, how can we shock our audience and give them something they've never seen before? But like if the WWE tried to recreate the Attitude Era now, I guarantee you those same people calling for the Attitude Era would be like, we've seen this before. Do something new. This is boring. We saw this already. It's like, what can WWE really do that was more shocking than the Attitude Era? They did everything. They like lit like a man's testicles on fire. Like what else could they possibly do that's more extreme than that?
Right. But also, I mean, the flip side is if you don't have an opinion, voice. And right now we're transitioning into this paradigm where if you don't have a loud opinion, then you don't exist.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a classic example of how this is hurting some people. So in just 1 year, Colbert is the king of late night.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Politics, opinion. Jimmy Fallon, who's been clean cut, playing both sides of the fence, has Donald Trump on his show and rubs his hair, is now dipping.
Yep.
Because he doesn't have an opinion.
Exactly.
Because if I don't know where you stand socially, I don't know you, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if I don't know who you are, what you stand for, if you're just all about fun and games, then I don't know. Yeah, you might not have enough substance for me, bro. So there's a little backlash on that. When that's the whole formula that got him there.
Yep.
That's the whole thing that made him in the first place. That's what people loved.
Yep.
Just less than a year ago.
Yeah, it's hilarious to see how quickly things can shift, like, you know, as far as like what's mainstream and what's popular. Because I remember like even this time, like, you know, last year, people were saying that Jimmy Fallon's probably the best late night host since Carson. They were like giving him tons of praise and saying that he reinvented the late night formula and that this is the model that's going to be successful for years to come. And then Trump gets elected, which makes a lot of people more politically, like, you know, like aware, because everyone just took Trump as a joke and thought he had no chance of winning. So when he actually did win, there's a lot of people who had no interest in politics that were like all of a sudden like, wait a second, I really need to pay attention to politics because this guy got elected and I didn't think this was even possible. So then that's when a guy like Colbert, who has experience talking about politics and making fun of it, like he gets a big boost because now people are more, like you said, are more interested in talking about that. They want substance with their comedy. They don't want the fun in the games because it ain't a game anymore. Because now there's someone in office who can affect their way of life. So they want to make fun of that person. They don't want someone who's just playing games and acting like it doesn't exist. So, and I think also, like, you know, to tie that back into WWE, everything is constantly evolving. It's constantly changing, and you have to adapt with the times or you're going to get left behind. And that's something that Jimmy Fallon's probably going to have to learn. He's going to have to adapt because if he keeps up his way, his ratings are probably going to keep slipping and Colbert's are going to keep rising.
Right. I mean, but like that's why SNL is on the rise now. That's why Trevor Noah is on the rise now. I mean, that's why there's a President's Show. Let me tell you how funny that is. So the Comedy Central just came up with the President's Show. Yeah. Which happens on Thursday nights, 11:30 Comedy Central, where the guy who had the best impression of Trump on the internet is a guy, Anthony Tamanik. He's a professional improviser and teacher down at UCB. So I almost took his class for Improv 201 years ago. Like, he's just a regular guy. And it goes back to what I was saying before about talent versus skill. People that are very good comedians and they're very good improvisers, but in real life they're not funny at all. Yeah. They're not funny people at all. They're just good writers, or they just have a couple skills and a couple of tricks. That's not talent. That's not like natural talent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Eddie Murphy's a natural talent. Yeah. Like, but there are some people that they just know how to put words together and write good jokes. I what I mean? But that's not like actual talent, stage presence, charisma, or just being naturally funny.
Yeah.
Anthony Taminick is one of those guys. If you ever saw him as himself, as a guest on someone else's show or he doesn't really know anything else but to improvise.
Yeah.
So he'd go on other shows with his Donald Trump impression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be amazing at first because his impression is that damn good.
Yeah.
But then after like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, you know, like where he just has to come off the cuff all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like it just gets a little wonky. Like,
Yeah.
Central just said, how about we give you your own show? It's only a half an hour a week, and we give you professional writers.
Yeah.
And now it's gold.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you have the talent, you just have to give people their thing. Sometimes a player could be a great player. You just have to put him in the right system, in the right position.
Exactly.
And Charlemagne the God
Oh, yeah.
is a great example.
Yep.
Jesus and Mero
Oh,
are
yeah.
a great example.
Yeah.
These guys were on MTV2.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing improv and like gags and da. Like they were clearly funny. They
Yeah.
clearly had talent, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
But then you just put them on their own and just give them no filter, no format. Just let them be themselves and just let them cook.
Yep.
And look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like there's a huge shift here, and I think WWE, their response to that is we can't chase everybody. The days are over where we're gonna have everybody's attention at once, and domestically.
Yeah.
So in order to raise our presence, in order to raise our business, let's go global.
Yeah.
Let's go global by doing what we already do. Instead of chasing and trying to adapt everything that goes on in the States, why don't we just do our thing and just import and do our product the way we're doing it the best way we can and just sell who we are, how we are across the world.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. That's why you're pushing Jinder Mahal. That's why the great Khali is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and they're going to be like, what? And they're going to see his resume, and then it's going to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think not everything is an accident. There are some smart people out there
Mm-hmm.
that make decisions, and then when the results happen, we're surprised.
Yeah.
But then you look back and like, oh, they were on that. They planned this.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, I think the future is exciting, especially for SmackDown, and I guess Backlash will be a good indicator.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, what if Jinder Mahal wins?
Oh, yeah. So I guess like that, the perfect segue to us to talk about Backlash and give our predictions as to what we think. So I'll just go over the matches real quick. We could just say who we think's going to win. Give a side if we think want to add something more to the match. So for the Backlash card for tomorrow night, first matchup, the kickoff match, which is Ty Dillinger against Aiden English. What do you think about this match? Who do you think's going to win?
Well, Ty Dillinger's going to win. Yeah. But I told you, I like Aiden English, man. I really feel like...
I really like that gimmick.
Yeah, man. Like, because he has real talent.
Yeah, he can really sing.
Talent, right. So, hey. Now, like, he's one of those guys where I feel like if things don't work out in WWE, like I said, sometimes you just need the right... You need the right team in the right position.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if WWE is it.
Yeah.
Dude really has talent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he'll be fine no matter what. He has legit talent. So I hope that WWE uses him because I think he could be a really good, cocky heel. Kind of like I'm better, I'm smarter, I'm more talented than you, and I think he has a good future. But if not, like you said, he has the talent. He'll be fine. So next matchup, we got Luke Harper against Eric Rowan.
I mean, come on. I feel like what else can they do? I don't. We already talked about this before. Luke Harper has the goods. Mm-hmm. I mean, like he's got it. We see it.
Yeah.
And he's improved.
Oh yeah.
So I really don't see where. And Bray Wyatt's not even there anymore. So I don't see where Eric Rowan really fits in. It's almost like, what are you gonna do with him? Like whoever comes out on top, who does it help?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, exactly. I think this, Luke Harper should win this match. They had him lose to Eric Rowan, but through nefarious means the other week. And they seem like they're actually trying to build a character for Eric Rowan where he has these numerous masks, and he says it was on Talking Smack, and he has a different personality for each mask. So I don't know if they're trying to do like a schizophrenic or he has multiple personality, if they're kind of going in that direction with Eric Rowan. But they seem like they have a plan for him. So hopefully they can make him an interesting character because he's pretty much just been like the lackey of Bray Wyatt for the last couple of years. So I hope they allow him to develop his character. And like you said, like Luke Harper, I think he's immensely talented. Like he should really be in like the main event scene on SmackDown in my view, because he's like, before WrestleMania, I really thought they were going to turn that match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt into a triple threat match, just because Luke Harper was getting so much like fan reaction and the fans were really starting to dig him, but they didn't like go in that direction. I think that was kind of a missed opportunity because I think he was really starting to get over, and that could have really created a new, superstar. But I think it's not too late. Like, my pick is Luke Harper, but I think both these guys, have a good future if WWE uses them correctly.
Right.
Yeah. So next up, we got Sami Zayn against Baron Corbin.
Good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I like Corbin, man. I do.
Yeah.
I really dig this dude.
I do too.
He's not great on the mic yet.
No.
Who cares? I don't really care that much. Sammy, like we said before, I feel like we are tail end prime Sammy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sammy's gonna be Sammy the rest of his career. I feel like I don't know like where he ranks among the hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many championships that will eventually equate to.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. Right now, I like optimism and I like potential. You know what I mean? Like, so some of these guys who are just getting, that's why I'm liking Offensive Pain. That's why I like Baron Corbin. That's why I'm liking where Apollo Crews might go with the Titus brand.
Yeah.
Like these dudes, like they're not at their ceiling yet.
No, like they're just starting. They're trying to find something, and that they might be able to.
Right. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like, the best way to find that out is that you put them against people who they're already at their ceiling.
Yeah, exactly, and I think this is a perfect matchup for both, because I think Baron Corbin is immensely, like, he's improved immensely, like, in the last couple of years. When I saw him in NXT, he was very stiff, like, he seemed like someone who wasn't sure of himself, like, in the ring. But now he looks very fluid. I think like that match that he had against Orton the other night was very good. He's had a couple of other really good matches. He made like a chair match against Kalisto into like an entertaining as hell match, the first entertaining chairs match I've ever seen. So I think he has a ton of talent, and I think Sami Zayn is the perfect foil for him, because Sami will sell like $1 million for him. I think Baron Corbin's going to take the victory here, just because Sami is better in the underdog role, where he starts piling up a couple losses, and everyone starts doubting him, but then he starts winning big matches. I think that's pretty much Sami Zayn's character, even going back to the Indies. It's like he's the underdog. He loses a lot, but then he wins in big moments. So I think that continues here, and Baron will get the victory here.
Right, and he's on SmackDown. So as Genders has proven, if WWE just feels like it, new number one contender, Sammy, go ahead.
Exactly. Like they have no qualms in doing that. So I think Sammy will be just fine, and I think this will further Baron Corbin's rep and make him a legitimate threat to the title down the line.
Anybody except your boy Ellsworth. How is he still employed?
Yeah, no, but he's perfect. He's perfect as the foil for Carmella, and that actually segues perfectly into the next match, which is Charlotte, Becky, Naomi against Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella, with James Ellsworth in their corner. So what do you think of that match?
Some people think that they don't really have a direction with what they're doing with that.
Mm-hmm.
I initially like what they're doing.
Yeah.
With the whole angle and the welcoming committee for Charlotte, I initially like it, and Naomi's still the champ.
Exactly.
So to me, it's all good. Now Charlotte does look kind of alone out there. Like she does look. It's kind of weird. It's not like I see her as a Raw girl or something, but when I see her on SmackDown so far, she looks like somebody just got traded to the team. So, like, she's just getting used to wearing new colors.
Yeah, I got that same vibe. She doesn't look right on SmackDown yet. It still looks very, like, when someone, like, when they traded Iverson to the Nuggets, and how you had to get used to seeing him in a Nuggets jersey before it finally started making sense. I think that's how it is with Charlotte. She just looks weird on SmackDown right now, but eventually, like, it'll feel normal.
Right. And she hasn't had the best couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a win for her would do her a little good.
Yeah. I think so too. I think Charlotte, Becky, Naomi, I think they'll win this just because, the welcoming committee, as they call them, has been pretty much just beating them down the last couple of weeks and getting the upper hand, like, in every turn. So I think this will, be their revenge, and the face team will win. I think, like, long term, they're probably going to go with, Charlotte will probably feud with Natty, and they've had Carmella pin Naomi a couple of times, so I think they're gonna start a feud with that where Carmella and Naomi will be for the title, and I think they're saving the blow off match with Naomi and Charlotte for SummerSlam. So I think that's kind of like the long term view, like to kind of keep Naomi and Charlotte away from each other with these separate feuds, and then they will meet again at SummerSlam. So, but yeah, I think the face team, Charlotte, Becky, Naomi, will take it here.
That's kind of what it looks like, right? It looks like a mid-season trade. It's like when DeMarcus Cousins went to the Pelicans.
Yeah, exactly. And you see them hit him in the Pelicans jersey, and you're like, okay, that looks weird. But after a couple of games, you get used to it, and you go, okay, yeah, he fits in well with the Pelicans. But it takes a while to get used to it.
Yeah, like when LeBron went to the Heat, you're like, what?
Oh God, that was just
like he looks weird in those colors.
That was so bizarre. And then it was weird when he left the Heat and went back to Cleveland, and because they had the new jerseys, and then it was weird not seeing him in a Heat uniform.
Right. You know what I mean? But I like that. But LeBron went there, but LeBron didn't take over the team until a year later.
Yeah, exactly. Which is by most estimations, if he had taken over the team right away, he'd probably have 4 rings now instead of 3.
Right, but it was still D Wade's team.
Yeah, exactly. But it was like that stubbornness of, it's D Wade's team, whatever, even though LeBron was clearly the better player. And that's no slight on D Wade. D Wade is going to go down as one of the 20 best players in NBA history. He's a phenomenal player, but LeBron's going to go down as one of the best too. It's him and Jordan.
But LeBron, Charlotte has gone to SmackDown, but it's still Naomi's team.
Exactly. So and that's why, and I think
I like it like that.
Yeah, and that's how I want it, because I was fearful when they brought Charlotte over and they put her in a title match so quickly. I was like, oh God, they're going to, and especially after seeing Alexa win the Raw title, as soon as she went over to Raw, I thought that they were going to do the same thing with SmackDown. So I was glad that they didn't do that, because Naomi's, she's been busting her ass, man, and she deserves to have that title. And I want to see her have an extended run with it. I know she has to eventually lose it, but I was hoping they wouldn't take it off her less than a month after she got it back. So it looks like they are going to keep it on her for a while, and I hope that they keep it on her until SummerSlam, so we can have a real nice feud between her and Charlotte, which I think can be a great match, because that match they had on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago was really good, and that was them. I feel like they were going at half pace. I think if they go at full pace, they could put on a really good match.
Exactly, and I'm like, oh, don't do this match yet. I don't want to see anybody win or lose that. So I'm like, thank you, WWE, thank you for taking the decision out of my hands.
Yes, exactly. I like that they did, the DQ ending, with the welcoming committee, and pretty much essentially turned Charlotte face for the time being. I don't think that's going to last long. I think that she's eventually going to turn on Naomi, because that's what Flairs do. But for the time being, I think that's a good direction to go in.
Right, and side note, Alexa's killing it, man. I get it now. I'm all of a sudden really attracted to her too. All of a sudden.
Yes, I've been trying to tell you, man. Alexa got it, man, and she's getting better in the ring, and she's just so comfortable on the mic, and I just love the visual of this little tiny woman who just talks like she's 12 feet tall, but it works perfectly for her, because she just has all the confidence in the world.
No, but now I'm like, damn, she's cute. It's not like I'm looking at her for the first time.
Yeah.
She literally grew on me.
Yeah, because it's because she was cute. She's always she's obviously a very pretty woman, but when you factor in the attitude and the confidence that she has, it just makes her even more attractive.
No, but some people, how some women you're attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not but it's not in a sexual way.
Yeah.
I mean, they just named Julia Roberts the sexiest woman alive again.
Yeah.
I don't get it, mostly because I don't think that's her appeal. I'm not calling her unattractive, but I've never said, I wonder what she looks like naked.
Yeah, wait. They time out. Rewind. They named Julia Roberts the sexiest woman alive?
Yes.
In 2017? No. Really?
Yes.
No, like, and trust me, like I'm on board with you. Julia Roberts is a very
out of the loop. I know your daughter just turned 1.
yes, I'm out of the loop. Like
But you got your 5-year wedding anniversary coming up. Like, I know, so I'll give you a pass on this.
yes, I'm usually very up to date on the sexiest people because I need to stay in touch with what's sexy nowadays. But Julia Roberts, that's baffling. Like she's a beautiful woman, no doubt. But there's so many other available options. There's like Scarlett Johansson. There's Priyanka Chopra. There's all these like beautiful, like gorgeous women. Like how can you go for Julia Roberts, who's been around for literally almost 30 years at this point?
Well, she's not a beautiful woman. I mean, she's a pretty woman. Hell no. What?
But yes, perfect.
That didn't happen. But no, I'm not even. And you're the dad. How did I come up with a dad joke? But no, but like even back in those days, like that wasn't her appeal. You know what I mean? Like even Erin Brockovich, where she won an Oscar for, like that cleavage wasn't like.
Yeah, it wasn't like world changing. It didn't turn boys into men.
Right. You know what I mean? Like Priyanka Chopra is another example. Like she's clearly beautiful.
Yes.
But like I'm not picturing her like that.
Oh no, I've definitely pictured her like that. She is gorgeous. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not saying she's not gorgeous, but there's some people who are really pretty. But there's just like no, it's just not a sexual thing. And then there are people that are pretty or not even as pretty. Mm-hmm. They just fire your loins up.
Yeah, but they like ooh sexuality. I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like not to name names, but like all these hacks. Mm-hmm. And like which unfortunately includes some of these wrestlers. There are some girls where you were like wow, she got hacked.
Yeah.
Wow, we get to see her naked.
Yep.
Oh, let's check that out. Wow, let's put my Google Chrome on incognito for this. Difference, but then you look at it and you're just like, not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's not even that they have bad bodies. It has nothing to do with that. It's just like you just don't see them like that. You just don't want to view them in that kind of light.
Yeah, exactly. And also the imagination is all like 9 times out of 10 is better than reality. Like, most of the women I've seen naked in my life, like when I pictured them naked before I actually saw them naked, it was like on another level. It was still great to finally see them naked. It was still fantastic, but it's just you see it on a different, you imagine better than what it actually is I think, and that's what we see with a lot of these celebrity hacks, or even the ones that have willingly posted naked for pictures back in the like heyday of Playboy, and you say, oh, this person's going to be naked, and you go, oh yeah, I can't wait to see it, and you see it and you're like, oh, okay, it's all right.
Yeah, but there's a difference between sexy pictures and posing nude.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Because like when you're posing nude, you're airbrushed, and they pretty much make you look as great as you're ever going to look. But whereas with the hacked pictures, it's pretty much just for I'm going to send this to this guy I like, just to like kind of get him fired up. There's no real like lighting or airbrushing going on.
No, but even with the hacked pictures, like there are some pictures where they're very explicit and sexuality is the point.
Yeah.
Trying to be sexy, but then some of those pictures that are leaked, they're just naked, and they're just taking selfies in front of the mirror.
Yeah, which is very weird to me. Like I like it's just, I mean, I guess that they send it to the guy in their life or whatever, but it's just
I think they do it for themselves. I really think that some of them that they're just trying to chart the progress of their bodies.
Yeah,
and how they look. That's what I did when I lost 20 pounds 5 summers ago for your wedding.
Yeah. Oh, it's far. Well, now I feel very good. Well, thank you for losing that weight. You lost more weight for my wedding than I did, so that's really good.
And one of the crazy things is my best friend is getting married on Saturday, and I'm the best man, so I only have less than a week to lose 5 more pounds to fit into that suit from the same year you got married, and I haven't worn that suit since.
I believe in you, man. You could do it. You got 1 week. You just gotta do one of those Vince McMahon chase the chicken workouts.
I gotta look like Jinder Mahal in 6 days.
You hard body GK.
I know, man. You think that's easy to do at my age?
Yeah, and that's doing it in your 30s is like a completely different beast. When I was in my 20s, if I wanted to lose 5 pounds in a week, I would just go, okay, I won't eat Chinese food this week, and that was literally it. I wouldn't work out, I wouldn't do anything, and I'd lose the 5 pounds. Now, to lose 5 pounds in a week, I literally would have to nearly kill myself with working out and eating healthy.
Not like, yeah, but Like, you know what else happens too? Like, your body just changed. Like, I'll give you an example. So, you know how sometimes those rare times where you just really feeling yourself, so you go shopping?
Yeah. Yeah.
You buy really fly clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Might not even have occasions to wear them, but you're just feeling so damn good in the moment, you just got to do it.
Exactly. Because you go, oh, this is going to look good on me.
Right. So sometimes you do that, and then, you know, times change, years go by, and then all of a sudden that fly outfit gets a little less fly in your eyes, and it goes further back in the closet, and it becomes kind of like your rainy day rush clothes.
Yeah.
So my graduation gift when I graduated undergrad was I got an Armani blazer, shirt, tie, and slacks. You know, to start going on job interviews.
Yeah.
The same shirt and tie Ric Flair wore in WrestleMania 20. Yeah, it's Salvatore Ferragamo.
Ooh,
I know.
Nice.
Anyway, but that's here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to a church service like 6 or 7 years later at St. John the Divine, right?
Mm-hmm.
To go see Father Taylor, right? And it was raining kittens and amphibians that day.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm already running late, so I don't have time to go through my closet and like go through options. So I'm like, okay, go with my 8-year-old Armani thing from college because hey, at least it's Armani. At least I'm dressed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, baggy was still in back then, right?
Yeah.
So jacket fine, shirt fine. I go for the slacks. I couldn't zip it up all the way, and I couldn't button it. And want to know the crazy part? I was the same height and weight from 8 years ago when I got it.
Wow.
One of the freakiest, most humbling things that's ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because like your body like morphs, it like transforms into like different shapes, like, you know, that are unexpected, and you think that you're good until you try on some clothes that you used to wear.
I know, son, when you saw me, like, getting ready for your wedding, son, like, I was wearing outrageous colors. I was shopping at, like, I was buying skinny jeans in every color but black and blue. I still had neon orange skinny jeans, my dude, and I was rocking them hard. Remember how deep my V was that year? Remember I was wearing deep Vs from American Apparel?
Yes, you were very like Eric Benet that year.
Exactly. I wasn't wearing shoes, nothing. Then at the same time, like, now, I can't fit into those joints now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same weight. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. And one of the crazy things, when you go out, because, you know, I just had my boy's bachelor party, I just threw him a bachelor party and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the past month, I'm like, damn, I've been out drinking 3-4 nights a week.
Wow.
So it's like, so not only does it change your body, but you know what else I'm noticing, which I hope this podcast is an indication of? Like, I think I've lost a few brain cells. Like I'm just not as sharp at all. Like, I just can't think of stuff.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I 100% get that. Like, you know, when I first got with Jen, my beautiful wife Jen, one of the things I like most is that, like, how sharp we both were. Like, we could make fun of each other, make fun of other people, make fun of, you know, things very quickly and come up with stuff. Now, my wife is still very sharp and on it, but me, it's like I'll see something and then like I'll go, oh, and then I won't think of a good joke until like 5 minutes later, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I so slow? And I completely agree with you. It's like I feel like I'm losing brain cells. Like I'm not as sharp and quick with things as I used to be.
Yeah, me neither. But I think the drinking has something to do with it. You know me, I only drink straight vodka, Tito's, man. Only vodka that's gluten-free on the label.
Yeah, you're even healthy with your alcoholic beverages.
I know, but like now I just can't. Man, I'm just like, like sometimes like my jokes aren't there. Like, they should be there. It's not. Like, I'll give you an example. So after the bachelor party, my boy, like, he woke up the next day. He spent the night on my couch, and he was getting up the next day, and he was like, and you know, he was playing, but he was like, "Yo, son, wow, the big day's coming up, son. Am I ready, son?
Yeah.
Am I really ready to give this up, son? Am I really ready to make the move?" And like, you know, and I'm like, well, look, I've got off the phone with my mom, and she already booked the bus tickets. Whether you're ready or not, mom is coming, so it's happening.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, so I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, snap, it's like that, son? Yeah, son. Yeah, you're right, son. Yeah, I already put the down payment on the after dinner mints. So, yeah, I guess I got to do it. I was like, damn it. Damn it. I should have thought of that. Damn.
Yeah, See, like that's what I'm saying. Like I'll say something, and in the moment I'll think it's funny, but then 5 minutes later I'll think of something even better, and I'm like, damn it, I should have used that. I feel like the episode of Seinfeld when George gets made fun of, and then he thinks like Jerk Store is like a great comeback, but then he waits like 2 weeks to say it, and then it's not funny anymore. And and then the other guy just zinged him and is like way better. That's how I feel. That's my life. I'm George Costanza now. I just come up with jokes way too late, and then other people say funnier jokes than me.
But is it age or is it drinking? Like I'm starting to think it's drinking. Like I'll give you another example because clearly I'm in the middle of writing a best man speech.
Yeah.
So like this one time, me and him, we were so frustrated with with our single lives, or at least the dating part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We were just like, yo, we might just have to date ourselves. Like not each other, but ourselves. Like go on a date with yourself.
Yeah.
And then we just started coming up with scenarios like, what would it going out on a date with your own self be like?
Yeah.
So I'm good with coming up with premises, right? So I was saying stuff like you'd be at the bar, and I was saying stuff like, rough night. Nah, don't worry, man. I got this one. First round's on me. Like stuff like that. Like trying to build it up.
Yeah.
Right, but then Chris would be like, yo, back up. You too close, man. It's like, damn it. Look at that.
Yeah, like, but I 100% get where you're coming from. Like, I feel the same way, and I don't know if it's age or drinking or stress or what, but it's just like I like to think like I think that maybe it's just like we're getting a little bit older, but I think it comes back because I have like some older uncles that are just like sharp as hell, and they're like in their 70s, and they're like very sharp. So I'm hoping that it'll eventually come back.
All right, and they probably still drink like fish.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't see them without a beer in their hand. You know how old Jamaicans do. They like always got a beer in their hand, always got a dirty joke, and and rocking the Jesus chain. You know how they roll.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Yo, shout out to my man Jeremy Lin.
Oh.
I was having serious Linsanity flashbacks, right?
Yeah.
And so I was in Jamaica for a family thing. When Linsanity wasn't Linsanity yet, he was just a guy who got his 10-day contract extended because he had a couple of good games.
Yeah.
Right. So it's Friday night, and I'm out in Kingston, right? And we're at a fish fry, outside.
Yeah.
Then we hear some of the locals like behind some shanties, like they're cheering and yelling and all that, right?
Yeah.
And this is my whole family. You know how mixed up my family is. My mom's husband's Jewish.
Yeah. You got the UN of families.
And my sister's husband's in the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
We Jamaican and Chinese. So I mean, like we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So we go back there with my mom's husband who's Jewish. So I go back there with a few people. They brought out a projector.
Mm-hmm.
They had this laptop that was put together by duct tape, and they pointed the projector against a brick wall in one of the shanties, and they were watching Jeremy Lin versus Kobe and the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like the game that made Linsanity.
Yeah. That game was amazing.
Right, you know what I mean? And like, you'll never have a moment like that again. Like to bring my mom's husband out there who wasn't really feeling like he was fitting in that much, and then all of a sudden he's splitting Red Stripe and Guinness with the locals, and then like whenever Jeremy Lin would score a bucket, like one of them go down and be like Chinaman, bad boy.
Yes.
Like so like those moments are priceless.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so yeah. Shout out to Jeremy Lin. Yeah, you want to talk about Backlash?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. And that
almost worked, but yeah, we had to bring it back.
Exactly.
We got to wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly. And so that brings it back, to our Backlash preview. So the next matchup is Usos against Breezango.
I like what they're doing with Breezango, but the Usos, they're on to something. It just needs more time to cook.
Yeah, I love the Usos when they come out to confront the teams and they just like start saying random insults, like, but somehow it works. Like I love it.
Yep. So Usos got to win, but I think Breezango. I think they're finally finding their niche. They'll get rewarded later.
Exactly, definitely. Like Usos win now, but I think Breezango will have a good match with them, make them legit, and then down the line they'll get their reward. And then, so next up is Kevin Owens against AJ Styles for the U.S. title.
Owens.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Owens cost AJ the match the other night, so I thought that might lead to AJ winning. But I think it's too early in the feud for AJ to win now. I think like Owens finds some heel tactic, like some illegal way to win, and that that'll lead to a rematch where AJ will eventually get it. But I think it's too early for AJ to win it now, and I think this is going to be a long feud. So I got the same thing, Owens. And so next up, we got Nakamura against Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, Nakamura, of course.
Yeah, of course. Like this is a no-brainer. It's going to be Nakamura, but I think Dolph is going to give him an amazing match. I think Dolph is going to put his working boots on, and they're going to have I wouldn't be surprised if it's a match of the year contender. Like I think that these two really can gel well together and put on a great match. But we'll see. It depends on what they decide to do with Dolph. If they want to make him look competitive, I think it'll be a great match. But if they just want to be a showcase for Nakamura, then it'll be an extended squash kind of. But I think they're going to put on a good match.
I don't want an extended squash. I want it for Dolph.
Yeah.
I want it for Dolph. I want it to be a match of the year candidate for him.
Exactly.
I want it for Dolph. I mean, Nakamura's going to win. He has to win.
Yeah.
And Nakamura has to look good. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you can still look good elevating somebody else. And that's what I need and really want Dolph to do.
Exactly. I'm hoping that this is the match that makes, the brass go, oh yeah, Dolph is one of the best people we have. Let's use him. And then transition that into him feuding with, I really want to see this current iteration of Dolph against Randy for the title. I think that could be a good feud. So I hope that that's kind of where it leads to. But yeah, definitely Nakamura winning this match. And then the main event of the evening, the unexpected main event of the evening, which is a Randy Orton against Jinder Mahal for the WWE title.
I'm calling Jinder just for fun. Just for fun.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth in this the last couple of days. I was like, yeah, I don't think they're going to give it to Jinder now because, they probably just want to put him in the main event, kind of get some of those eyes in India on the match and on the network. But the more I think about it, why the hell not? Why SmackDown has been shown to do unexpected things and put the titles on unexpected people. Why not Jinder Mahal?
You need long-term gain. You need long-term growth. What's the point of making Jinder hot for a couple of weeks?
Exactly. I think it would do better for Jinder to win now and then just have him drop the title back to Randy at the next pay-per-view. What harm does it do to have Jinder hold the title for a month? It would be an unexpected vision. I don't think anybody is expecting Jinder to win. Nobody is expecting Jinder to win. They figure that this is just a platform to make him look legit, but of course he's going to lose. But if he wins here, this completely legitimizes him, and it doesn't take anything off Randy, and then Randy could win it back the next month. I mean, it's very similar. I said something about this being like a JBL situation. This is very similar to when JBL was feuding with Eddie, and everyone said, oh, there's no way JBL is going to win. This is just like a foil for Eddie to get through before he meets up with Kurt Angle again or somebody else that's more on his level. And then JBL won and became a legit champion. So I think why not put Jinder the title on Jinder and make him a legitimate superstar on SmackDown.
Right. I think like I said, man, I'm hoping Rusev will be my SmackDown MVP by the end of the year. He'll get the Jamie.
Yeah.
But for the same reason. So why not test the waters with Jinder? And furthermore, he's not going to get hotter later. You're not going to, there's no big payoff by extending this feud and having Jinder chase the title. So, just do it. Have him pull off the upset. Why not?
Exactly.
Different from Raw, man. Come on.
Yeah, why not? And that's my philosophy. And once again, that's what makes wrestling fun. Unexpected things, people that you don't think would winning. I mean, if it happens in real life, it happens in boxing, it happens in UFC, it happens in every type of combat sport, and even regular sports where a team or a person that people think have no chance wind up pulling off the upset. So why not in this case? Give it to Jinder. Don't hinder Jinder.
Yeah, man, get your Anthony Joshua on.
Exactly. So that pretty much wraps up Backlash. I think what are your total overall thoughts on Backlash? I think it looks like a pretty good pay-per-view. Looking at that card, I think it has the chance to deliver and be one of the better pay-per-views of the year.
Yeah, it doesn't. I feel like there's something to show. I don't feel like it's a throwaway pay-per-view. But I'd be remiss in saying, that's probably the last point I can make. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to Backlash as much as I'm looking forward to The Rock season finale SNL.
Oh yeah, that's I mean it's this it's a perfect Saturday night for a wrestling fan. You got Takeover Chicago, and then immediately after that, you got The Rock on SNL. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's probably the thing I'm looking forward to most this weekend. But the 5-time host, I want to see what they do with him being a part of the 5-time club. And The Rock always does a great job on SNL. He's one of the better recurring hosts that they have.
Right, and come on, Katy Perry, that's star power. But to really make this whole wrestling weekend complete, and yes, this is still wrestling. This Monday is the premiere of the much anticipated new season of The Bachelorette. Now,
you were the biggest Bachelor fan I know. I just have to put that out there. Like, you've been like...
You hear me out, wrestling fans, hear me out. All right. Now, I'm not even going to sell you on the fact that for the first time ever, The Bachelorette is black.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Time ever in Bachelor or Bachelorette history that the main person is of color. Juan Pablo, no. Like this is really happening.
Yeah.
Now she's a well-to-do, very successful attorney from Dallas. I mean, she was so overqualified for the show that it took that just for her to even be considered The Bachelorette.
Wow.
Because she was way too good to be on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And it's the most, quote unquote, it's the most diverse and most successful group of candidates ever. Right? So she's gonna date 31 dudes.
Yeah.
Right? She was on The Bachelorette where she was on The Bachelor where the Bachelor was white.
Yeah.
I mean, she took him to her hometown, like brought him to a church and everything, and then met her family. And her sister is married to a white dude who looks like the 2017 version of a hipster Orville Redenbacher. And so that just shows you how much diversity. Like, she's not going to discriminate.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see which way she goes, because it's a record number of black dudes. And one who won those black dudes is
who?
Professional wrestler Kenny King.
Wait, Kenny King is going to be on The Bachelor? Okay, well, now you sold me. Now I'm going to watch this.
From Tough Enough too?
Yes, I remember, and also he was in the Beatdown Clan in TNA. Yes, and he was in ROH. I know Kenny King very well, and I want to see this now. Now I must watch this.
Yes, and had the nerve to fill out in his Bachelorette resume in the questionnaire, what's the freakiest thing you ever did? And he said, like, something about he was a part of a threesome or watched a threesome. And then the very next question, what's the biggest thing you love in your life? My daughter.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to watch this.
Come on. Are you not sold?
Yeah, I'm sold. You sold me on it. I was already kind of sold from when you said that it's the first black Bachelorette. That piqued my interest. But then by you saying that Kenny King is going to be on it, now I'm 100% sold. I'm definitely going to watch this season.
Thank you.
You finally broken through on me. You've been trying to get me to watch The Bachelor / Black Bachelorette for the last 6 or 7 years. You finally gotten through to me. I'm gonna watch it.
Right, and it's the best episode. The first episode where 31 dudes pop out the limo and make first impressions. It's the best one.
Yeah, and I think I'll enjoy it because it's like a high class Flavor of Love, and I love Flavor of Love. So that is my guilty pleasure. I will never apologize for loving Flavor of Love and the spinoff I Love New York. So I will watch Bachelorette now.
Come on, man, you can't miss the first ever black Bachelorette. Trying to find her future husband, and then she doesn't know what to expect, and then out of the limo comes Kenny King.
Oh God, I just gotta watch this to see how Kenny King interacts with her on the show. I haven't ever seen Kenny King trying to be sexy, so I gotta watch this.
His promo skills that he learned from Al Snow and Chavo Guerrero and Taz. How is he gonna use that in his first promo to impress her on the first impression?
Exactly. He's got to do a good job. Like, come on, you're a pro wrestler. You lie for a living. This is what you do. Yes, exactly. He knows how to cut a promo. You're supposed to go in and know how to sell people the dream. Like, I gotta watch this now. He better win. He's gotta or at least get into the top 3.
Thank you. I mean, we know he won't, but thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, he definitely isn't. But still, I'm gonna be rooting for Kenny.
Finally, I got you.
You got me. This I'm not even gonna lie. When you mention Bachelor again, I go, oh, here we go again. The 900th, 80th time he's gonna try and sell me on the Bachelorette. But you got me. I'm doing it. I'm watching it.
There it is. We'll talk about that next podcast. You're damn right.
Yeah, next podcast it'll be an all Bachelorette edition of the Julian and G.K. podcast.
I'm the one, yeah. And then we can talk about how Justin Bieber now thinks he's Jamaican. That's a whole other story. That's a whole other issue.
You see what Drake started? I knew this was going to happen. Once Drake started, like, with his horrible Caribbean accent and putting Jamaican people on his album, I knew everyone was going to copy it. This is what we got. And then you saw, like, Katy Perry had the joint with one of the Marley sons. It's happening. Like,
I know.
yeah, it's coming back, but, like, not in a good way. It's like in an oversaturated way. But we'll see how it turns out. But before we get out of here, man, you have any final thoughts, any final words?
Nah, man. Now I'm ready to get it in, and I want to see. I need these. If the Spurs are not going to challenge the Warriors, I need these conference finals to get over with, and let's let the trilogy commence.
Yeah, it's just God. It just feels like you're watching the trailers before a movie that you really want to watch. It's just like end the damn trailers already. I want to watch the movie. It's just especially with Kawhi being out. Kawhi going out in that Spurs Warriors series just ruined that series. They were beating down the Warriors by 25 points before Kawhi got injured, and then the whole dynamic of the series shifted once he's injured. People don't realize, and that's another reason why Kawhi might be in serious MVP consideration. They named the top three yesterday, which is Kawhi, Russ, and James Harden. But like that Spurs team completely fell apart without Kawhi on the court, and he's not going to play in the game 3. So I think it's done for them. Now the Warriors are going to win game 3, and there's no way they're going to come back from a 3-0 deficit.
Right, and right now LeBron is hulking up and Super Cena combined. So it's
like, how is it possible that LeBron's probably playing the best ball of his career in his 14th season? That doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it more than I love a lot of things. It's just like people still want to hate on him somehow, but this is the first time where I don't know. 2 years ago, it was like, man, LeBron lost, but man, he was great.
Yeah.
And last season, those last 3 games, he came back to 3-1. Man, he was great.
Yep.
Now it's just like, he is great.
Exactly. It's like, I think people are finally starting to realize, it used to be the whole LeBron Jordan debate used to be laughable. It's like, how could you can't compare LeBron to Jordan. It's not, but he is making a legit case. Like, what he's been doing in these playoffs is just like on another level. He's killing these teams, and these are not scrub teams. This is not like the East a couple of years ago, which was just like the Heat and the Celtics when they had the big 3 and everyone else sucked. Like, these teams that he's beating are legitimately good teams, and he's crushing them and making them look like scrubs. It's like he beat down Boston in Boston by 40 something points. That is ridiculous.
Oh man, it's just, man, I want this for him, man. Like, it's just I really don't like. I mean, I'm never gonna cry wolf or cry something being unfair.
Yeah.
But for someone to be this great and this dedicated, and for the most part doing everything the way you would want, ideally, somebody to do things,
Mm-hmm.
you deserve your props. You deserve your respect.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody with that level of greatness in the profession have to go through so many pitfalls to get his rightful amount of respect and rightful appreciation for his greatness and value than LeBron James.
Yeah. It's crazy, and trust me, I was a jilted Knicks fan when I thought that he was going to come to the Knicks, and then he wound up going to the Heat, which is like the nemesis of the Knicks, and I was not thrilled about that. But at no point did I ever think that LeBron is a scrub. LeBron is one of the best players ever, not just top 20, top 10, top 2. And maybe by the time it's all done, top 1, the greatest ever. The things he's doing on that court is amazing. Like, he is taking this team and just crushing the competition. And every year they write him out. Every year they say that it's not going to be good enough. And every year he leads into the finals. If he makes the finals again, it's going to be 7 consecutive finals. That is ridiculous.
All right. Well, next podcast we're going to put that in perspective. We're going to put his place in perspective and really put him versus Jordan thing in real detailed factual context.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna tackle that next time. So you heard it here, folks. Next podcast, we're gonna tackle LeBron's legacy, and we're gonna talk about The Bachelorette, because he's finally convinced me to watch The Bachelorette.
Both equally important things.
Yes, exactly. They're both equal of status, because Kenny King on The Bachelorette. If you don't watch that, there must be something wrong with you. How could you not watch Kenny King on The Bachelorette?
Oh, and while you're at it, you might as well watch the new MTV Road Rules Challenge because it's now pros, it's now alumni versus the pros, and one of those pros is CM Punk.
Oh, yes. Oh, and when did that start? Did that start this week?
You're already one episode behind.
Oh, and CM Punk is on it already?
Yes, and Miz hosts the after show.
Oh, all right. Okay, I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna look like literally as soon as we finish this podcast. I'm going on the DVR to record the Bachelorette and this new MTV challenge.
And I'm gonna go drink.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So for GK, this is Julian. Thanks again for listening to the podcast, and as always, you bring us out, GK.
All right, check us out on YouTube, iTunes, and all that. Thank you so much. And like I said, anybody who has any shout outs or anything that want to get their opinions heard also, because we're a conduit for y'all,
Yeah.
hit us up.
Yeah. Leave those comments.
Yes. So until then, Jamaican Alpha out.